This here is Carnivore Snax. This is an alternative to the ultra-processed beef jerky that we are all too familiar with. I first heard about Carnivore Snax when I was looking for a natural beef jerky, and a Google search led me to their website, and lo and behold, I see Joe Rogan's face right there on the homepage saying that this was his favorite snack. I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. I know that he's really big into the carnivore diet, and if he thinks that this is a good product, I figured why not, let's give it a try. So on their website, I saw that they have a few different cuts of meat. They had beef, chicken, lamb, bison sliders, and chicken sliders, among other things. Now from my research, there are some people claiming that Joe Rogan is an investor in Carnivore Snax, or that he's a part owner in this business, but I couldn't find anything online that led me to believe that that is the case. It just seems like he's a big fan of this product. He seems to really like it, and because of that, he's genuinely and authentically promoting it on his podcast as he talks to guests and brings up how good this product is. I know that Joe brings this along when he goes for UFC fights. I'm not sure if he brings it so that he can snack on it, but I've seen an Instagram post of him giving this to Daniel Cormier. And since Joe talks about this on his podcast, millions of people hear it. And if they're into the carnivore diet or they trust in Joe's recommendations, then there's a very likelihood that people are going to try this. So I wanted a leaner cut of beef, so I went with the New York strip. And then I went with the only pork option they had, which was pork loin. Now before I open this and give it a try, I just want to let you know I've never tried this before. So this is my first time I'm going to try it, and you're going to get my very initial reaction to this product right here. And then we're going to do the pork loin right after. All right, let's open this up. Okay, so here is one piece. I can tell you right off the bat that this is hard in texture, so it seems like it's going to be crispy, almost like a overcooked piece of bacon. So initially I thought it was going to be crunchy, and it's definitely crunchy, but it's also soft in some parts. Particularly this fatty part right here is soft, but it's also hard. I think there's some moisture in this that makes certain parts of it soft, so it seems to have this hard, sort of crispy texture, but also moist in between. Personally, I think it's dried and salted just the right amount. It's definitely meaty, and the meat has a nice flavor with the salt. Once you break it apart in your mouth, it becomes a little bit dry, and you really have to break it down. Kind of like a piece of steak that's cooked well done, and it becomes a little bit chewy. This starts off as hard and crunchy and crispy, but once you break it down and your saliva gets into it, it becomes, you kind of have to chew on it a lot to get it down, which is, thinking about this as a snack, if you ask me, I personally like snacks that you can't just gobble down, because then you just overeat. Whereas if you're just kind of chewing on a piece of meat like this, your saliva is getting into it, and then the juices and flavors start to come out of it. So I like that it takes a while to get down, because I won't overeat, and you can kind of just soak in the flavor and the juices as it sits in your mouth. So another thing I'm noticing with the bite is this little part right here. It's not easy to chew. So as I reach the end of my bite, that little piece is getting stuck in my mouth, and I just swallow it. But I guess this is the problem with this being like real meat, is this thing isn't so easy to bite apart. So moving on, let's go to the pork loin. Gonna open this up and have a taste. So I've grabbed this kind of a small piece here. You can see that the color is a lot more like pork. It's got a little bit more fat, and I should probably look at the beef packet to see if there's pieces like this that have a whole bunch of fat on it. but you can see that this is purely a piece of meat. It's a little bit of pork loin with a little bit of fat that's just been dehydrated, and all you're getting is meat and salt, just like they claim. I'm now going to try this, and I'm going to start off with the fatty end. It's very similar to the beef in that it's crunchy, it's hard, it's got the texture of a crispy piece of bacon, but the flavor is different. If you asked me to try this and tell you what meat it was, I wouldn't be able to tell you that it's pork. But the salt really complements the meat nicely. Again, I think they've salted it just the right amount. I don't know if the meat would be nicer if it was a little bit softer. I'm a little indifferent to how I feel about that. I think there's a reason they made it this crispy, which is they probably think more people will like it this way. And if there was a chance, and if there was a way for me to try this when the meat wasn't so crunchy, I'd be interested to see how that tastes. So I'm going to take another piece. In terms of flavor, I would say that the beef and the pork are equally flavorful. They do taste like different pieces of meat. I also feel like the pork tastes leaner than the beef. I don't know what that means. I don't know how I'm able to say that, but to me, this just tastes a little bit more lean. And the last thing I'll say about this is, again, it's a little bit dry, but once you get your saliva and stuff mixed into it, it becomes more moist, and it takes time to chew it and break it down, which thumbs up for snacking purposes. Now I'm just going to finish eating this, and then we're going to talk about the price. Okay, so I've wrote some notes here, so just bear with me while I read it. So 1 pound of New York strip cost approximately $15 at the grocery store. I found a range and I averaged it to like $15. And this bag contains 1 pound of meat according to their website. So at this cost of $40 per packet for a one-time order, right? I'm talking about the New York strip, and New York strip at the store costs $15. So this costs double the price in terms of the amount that you would pay for this quantity of meat. And this pork loin here is $30 per packet, and for you to buy 1 pound of pork loin in the grocery store is probably in the range of $8 to $12. So this costs 2 to 3 times the amount that you would pay for this quantity of meat if you were to buy that quantity of meat from the grocery store. Frankly, I'm a little blown away by these prices. It's definitely very expensive. And I don't know if because their cost of making this is so high right now that they have to charge this much, or whether this is a premium product and they're using really good cuts of meat that are making it more expensive. Also, with people like Joe Rogan and stuff promoting it, and you have probably a huge influx of demand for your product, at that point, the only way that you can really control the supply is to increase the price and see how much people are willing to pay for it. I think that after trying this, I would like to keep a couple of these in my pantry or have them around the house for me to snack on. But I don't think that I would primarily just snack on this only and as a substitute for eating meat at other meals during the day. And I'm thinking of this as a good snack for when I do drives up to the mountains for a day of skiing and snowboarding. I spent about an hour to hour and a half in the car, and on the way there or on the way back, if I just want something to snack on, to me this would be the perfect snack. So that's the review for this video, and I have to give a thumbs up to Joe Rogan for his recommendation on this one. I do like it. I'm glad I ordered it. I'm glad I tried it, and I'm glad I now have this as one of my snacks that can help me bring some protein to my day and also substitute for those beef jerky cravings that you get every time you stop at a gas station. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Gotham, and if you like this video, I'd appreciate if you could smash that like button, maybe share the video, or just leave a comment down below telling me if you're gonna buy this and whether you're gonna try it. Or if you have tried it, let us know what you think. The more comments we have, the better that people who watch this video will be able to decide whether or not that this is something they want to try.